So if you've been out and about today, maybe you've seen people with a cross on their foreheads that's made of ash. And you're like, what is that about? Well, today is called Ash Wednesday. And it's this important day that starts this season of the year called Lent. Now, kind of cool about this, a lot of faith traditions on Palm Sunday, which is the Sunday before Easter, they have a ceremony, a celebration, and they use palms. And the tradition goes that when you're done with that, you burn those palms and then you keep the ash for next year's Ash Wednesday. And that is the ash that you put on your forehead. And this begins the season of Lent. Now, have you heard of Lent? Maybe not. Lent is about 40 days before Easter, not counting Sundays. It's this period. And maybe what you've heard of Lent is you've heard people talking about something that they're giving up for Lent. People will give up maybe chocolate for this season or some food or maybe even some hobby. And the reason is sort of out of devotion to God, to honor Him, to give up something that you like out of sacrifice for Him. Now, that's okay, but the original purpose of Lent is not really to deprive ourselves of something. It's really to prepare ourselves for something for Easter. So church fathers, our people who've come before us, our ancestors in the faith, they believed that Easter was something so worth celebrating, so awesome, that they should prepare their hearts, that we shouldn't just show up to Easter and expect something great to happen, but we should prepare our hearts to celebrate it. And so guess what? That's what we're going to do right here over these next couple of weeks. We're going to put out a video each week, and we're just going to work together to prepare our hearts for Easter. There is no right way to do this, but just to kind of get into God's word and to talk about what is Easter. So I think for me, something that's maybe difficult to remember at Easter is that this is like a real event. Like the whole event surrounding it, the circumstances are so foreign to us, I think, in America in the 21st century. I've never seen any public trials like Jesus's. I've never seen public beatings. I've certainly not seen any crucifixions. This is sort of out of the ordinary for us. And so for me, I have to remember this is real. Like this really happened. This man, Jesus, was actually falsely accused and arrested, and he was whipped and beaten, and flesh was really torn from his body. He was really nailed to a cross. He really took his final breath on a tree. And I need you to remember that real suffering. I also need to remember that there's a real empty tomb. This man really died, and he really came back to life. Hundreds of people saw him. This is historical fact. And I want to remember that. I also need to remember that He's really God. Yes, Jesus of Nazareth is a real man, but He's really God as well. And so just listen to what the writer of Philippians said. The Apostle Paul writes this, talking about Jesus. He says that Jesus, who being in the very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to His own advantage. Listen, rather, He made Himself nothing and took on the form of a servant. He's found in the appearance of man. He was humbled and obedient to death, even on a cross. And I love this little phrase. He made Himself nothing. Jesus engineered this whole thing. No one forced Him to do this. He is the architect of Easter. In fact, He'll say in John's gospel, I lay down my life. And guess what? I'll pick it back up when I want to. And so how do I get ready for Easter? Maybe I just start here and remember that Jesus is an authority over all things. And so wherever you are in life, whatever's going on with your circumstances, remember Jesus is in authority. He is the architect and engineer of all things. And that's really good news to know right where He is in power, in authority. In fact, I think that prepares us better than giving up chocolate for the next few weeks. So let's get our hearts ready for Easter. See you next week.